feels here at the school that makes every ounce of effort he pours into it rewarding. Mr. K, I think I speak for all of us when I say it's your warmth and positivity that has been a huge part in bringing that very same sense of community to life and making our senior year something special. We are so grateful for all he has done for us. That is why it is truly an honor, even though he may be a Virginia Tech alum, to stand here today and introduce the man who, in his words, doesn't just sing in the shower, he performs. Please join me in welcoming Mr. K.
It's good to see me, isn't it? Thank you, Caroline, for the wonderful introduction. Congratulations, class of 2015. I'm humbled to have been chosen to speak on your special day. You should also know that I am scared to death because I just realized that I'm the last person standing between you and your diploma. Please, don't hurt me. I have to admit, graduates, I'm feeling a little melancholy today. Not just because of the many goodbyes I'll be saying, but also because on the way to the stadium this morning, I overheard someone say, "Oh wow, do you see who's speaking today? They got a Kardashian." I won't lie, I'm pretty much dead inside right now. But that's okay, I totally understand. We live in a culture that values celebrity speakers, and if any of you had the chance to read the local news and see the list of commencement speakers at other high schools in our area, you'll notice that some are corporate CEOs, government officials, educational leaders, and well, let's be honest, people who have greater marquee value than little old me. I think my biggest moment in the spotlight occurred last year when I kissed Nacho, the pot-bellied pig. Talk about making poor choices. That pig won't stop texting me. Nacho, if you're here today, it's over. I'm very sorry, but it's time to move on. It's not me, it's you, okay? Oink twice if you understand. Graduates, don't let my pig smooching non-celebrity status worry you. I do possess some qualifications, some intuition, because I have been in your shoes. Most of you might not know that your first day of high school was my first day at Potomac Falls and my first day as a teacher. Like you, I was nervous. I was in the midst of a career change, unsure and excited about what was in store. I remember asking myself that first day, did I make a mistake? The answer is absolutely no. I have never looked back. Because of you, my resume is now just a list of things I never want to do again. Class of 2015, you all hold a special place in my heart. During these last 4 years, we have grown together, learned together, and most importantly, laughed together. Strength for the journey. And speaking of journeys, this is the end of an extraordinary 4 years. In many ways, it's just the very beginning. And I know many of you have questions and are unsure about your future. Well, let me tell you, Mr. Kardashian is here to support. I want to share one story with you today, and I promise to make it brief, not because of the heat, but because I have another speaking engagement at the Leesburg Home and Garden Show at noon. Here we go. My son, Aiden, will be going into the first grade next year. One of the favorite parts of my day is when I drive him to school in the mornings. On the way, we have our man-to-man talks, and it's great. As he gets out of the car, he's always so excited to get to his class, to see his teacher and his friends. So excited that he actually skips to the front door with a huge smile on his face. I think it's because he has this crush on a 5th grade girl who's a safety patrol there. The other day, he got out of the car, looked at her, and said, "Hubba hubba." I was mortified. But then as I drove away, I thought, that's my boy. It is such a pleasure to watch him grow up, and I hope that he never loses his current love of learning, as well as his desire to impress the ladies of Loudoun County. But one day, the time is gonna come for my wife and I to let go, to be on his own and take on the world. My biggest fear is that he will change because someone told him he was not good. You see, this was a big issue for me growing up. When I was my son's age, I had a lot of trouble learning to read. My first grade teacher at the time placed me in the lowest reading group. How'd I know that? Simple. The highest reading group was called the Cardinals. The middle group was called the Blue Jays. And the rest of us illiterate misfits, well, we were called the Pigeons. That's right, a pigeon. I'm sorry, but a pigeon is a flying rat. I remember how much this pigeon label crushed my confidence. To read something out loud in class was torture. To this day, I can still recall the snickers and name-calling any time I would mispronounce a word or be really slow with my delivery. To me, this was my first encounter being defined as a failure. This lack of confidence even carried over to high school, where my only defense mechanism was to keep quiet, stay low, and try not to be noticed out of fear of ridicule. But everything inside me desired to go against this strategy. Let me explain. Ever since I can remember, I've had a passion for musical theater. You know, the type of theater where a character out of nowhere suddenly bursts into song and nobody thinks, hey, that's weird, man. Well, my dream was to one day stand center stage in the spotlight and belt out a power ballad that would make the audience seats explode in a good way. I wanted to prove that the quiet kid everyone had come to know actually had a voice and something to say. So what did I do? I went to work. While my friends were rocking out to bands like Pearl Jam and Nirvana, I was in my car singing along to original Broadway cast recordings of Les Mis and Evita. In high school, I tried out for everything performance-related. Plays, musicals, choirs, you name it, I was there. But a problem occurred anytime I had to read or sing in front of a group of people during an audition. I would shut down, freeze, I couldn't speak. The words and music just wouldn't come out. And I was laughed at. The pigeon label was back, except this time, it stung even harder. I realized that I had to start at the bottom if I wanted to see this thing through. In college, my dream became an obsession. I practiced every day and saw every show that I could afford to see. I allowed myself to be criticized by my professors and my peers, which in turn made me stronger at my craft. Strides were made each time I took advantage of any small part offered to me, whether it was on the stage or off. I never had a job in the theater that I was too good for, because one day I knew I'd get my shot. The question was, when my number was called, would I seize the moment or let it get away? Fast forward to 2002, I just graduated from Virginia Tech and was working in the DC area. I see an ad for auditions at a very reputable theater company in Arlington. The show being produced is one of my favorites, Jekyll and Hyde, the musical. This time around, I was determined to prove my cynics wrong. I was prepared, older, more experienced, so I go in, I audition, I choke, and I leave. Ladies and gentlemen, the pigeon poops again. It was the typical protocol I've come to know so well. As I walked out of the theater that night, I remember thinking to myself, it's over, I give up. I can't do this to myself anymore. Feeling dejected, I remember driving through Taco Bell and eating my weight in double-decker tacos. I'm not sure why I just shared that with you now. 3 days later, I get a call from the producer of the show. She tells me that the director wants to see me and to come in the next day, so I agree to go. I arrive the next morning, and in the room sits a director, a very distinguished-looking woman who is sitting behind a long table thumbing through resumes and headshots. I can tell that this woman means business. There's no smile, no emotion, nothing. In the corner of the room quietly sits the musical director at his piano reviewing his sheet music. There is nobody else there. The director looks up, notices me, and said, "What is wrong with you?" I'm taken back. 3 days ago, you came in here and your nerves got the best of you, right? I nod my head and agree. How did she know? She must be a wizard. She then says, "Where do you feel the most comfortable singing?" My car, I say, which is truth. Nobody judges you when you sing alone in your car. In my car, I am Christina Aguilera, a very ugly version of Christina Aguilera. Without any hesitation, the director says, "Okay, you're in your car. Sing." The pianist immediately starts to play. Being the theater dork that I was, I recognized the song from the first chord. It's the power ballad from the show, sung by the lead character, called "This Is the Moment." With no time to think, I take a breath and I just sing. Now, I don't know if it was the motivational lyrics of the song or the euphoria I was feeling from the previous night's Mexican feast, but at that point, there was only one thing I could do. Sing my pigeon tail off. This was my moment. There were no nerves, no stuttering, no shaking, and no holding back. All my past anger, frustration, hurt, and love poured out in that one moment. Pure vocal pyrotechnics, my friends. Let's just say that if I was a figure skater, I landed my triple Lutz. The song ends and I take a breath. Tears are running down my face because for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm good. There was a silence that seemed to go on forever, but then it happened. The moment came. The director finally looked up from her table, looked me in the eye, and she said the words I will never, ever forget. She said, "We'll let you know." I'm happy to say that after a long callback with other actors, I was offered the leading dual role of Jekyll and Hyde. I got to sing my power ballad, and the rest is history. Sure, it wasn't Broadway, but that was never the point. The whole purpose of my struggle was to prove to myself that with hard work and relentless determination, I could do something that I truly love and do it well. My hope is that my son, Aiden, sees his dad do something with his life that he is passionate about, even if it might not be considered cool. I hope that he is strong enough to rise above his cynics and make the life he has his own. My hope for each of you is that you find that one thing that makes you whole and allow it to happen. It might not be the arts, but whatever it is, allow it in and go get it. This story actually has a twist, my friends. After writing this speech, I let my mom read it. Bad idea. She immediately told me that I needed to check the accuracy of my facts. You see, the pigeon name given to my reading group was something that I actually created, not my teacher. My mom told me that I named the group the Pigeons because at the time I was a huge fan of Sesame Street, and the character Bert loved to feed the pigeons. It's messed up. So all this time, I was the one who defined and later accepted the pigeon label as truth. So here's some advice I want to leave you with. Never, ever let yourself be labeled or defined. Graduates, the second you walk across this stage today, your slate is clean. Your future is unwritten. Life is going to knock you down. And when it does, do not look for something or someone to blame. If you don't like your fate, you must change it. The only restraints that held me back in my life are when I personally let them. Believe me, I have been stepped on, left out, picked on, and put down. So far down that there were times I wanted to hide, stay in bed, and never get out. There were times I wanted to quit jobs, my education, and things I love to do because someone made me think I had the skill set or talent to do it. I let other people dictate who I was going to be and how I should feel about myself. And for a time, I believed them. But I quickly learned that quitting and self-pity would be the most spiritless thing to let encompass me. The easy way out is to quit and let your personal bullies win and hold you back. Here's what I've learned. The greatest retaliation against the cynics in my life has been the choice to be positive. You must turn your conflict into opportunity, and above all, see the good in yourself and in others. You don't know whose life you'll change. I think the character Rocky Balboa sums it up the best. He says, it's not about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. You gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you're not where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that's not you. You're better than that. And you, the class of 2015, are better than that. I know you are. I have witnessed it. If you haven't started to believe in yourself, the time to is now. Now. You cannot let fear stop you from doing the things that you are passionate about and will make you amazing. You cannot express yourself without the risk of criticism, especially in times when you feel your voice wanting to defend yourself, share concern, offer support, compliment, or belt out a Broadway show tune. And most importantly, you cannot love without the possibility of loss. You must take these chances. Graduates, you won't remember a thing I've said today, and that's fine. But if you can take away one thing from this speech, remember that each one of you is good. Class of 2015, congratulations on your graduation. Remember who you are and remember this place. It's time for your curtain call, your final bow. Let's read some names. Thank you.
At this time, we'll begin to read